I don't know. I don't know. That's what they said. So, apparently, so she had this baby. It was a life-changing experience for her. She's supposed to be on her grown woman now. So why she meet up with Stevie J's daughters, which are like teenagers, like 18, 19s, and they start getting it. She got into it. They were being more mature than she was, and she called them an nappy head hoe.
Well, we talking about Jocelyn.
How can you go and call an 18-year-old your step? Well, because apparently they were supposed to be engaged again. I think she proposed to Stevie J again or something like that and gave him a ring. I don't know.
Anyway, whatever.
But they were supposed to be working out everything between the two families and this and that and the other. But so apparently she gave Stevie J another ring and was like, let's take another shot at it. Let's do it for real. Let's do it for real, air quotes, this time.
But I thought he was dating Faith.
No, that ended. Because Faith was like, it just didn't work out. Okay. So, that ended like a long time ago.
But anyway, go ahead, back to your story.
But so Jose, Hosling, whoever, was supposed to be like on her grown woman, women's empowerment, forgiving everybody, cleaning up, cleaning up what she messed up. She started her life over again.
She's sweeping around
her own front door before she tried to sweep around
other
people's. But so she had a meeting with Stevie J's daughters and was like, just basically called the girl like a nappy head hoe. So like what?
That's not.
I'm just like, you know what?
Mature.
I can't take this.
But yeah, so
I can't take this.
Look at who we're talking about.
But I mean, that's age. That's age. Like we're saying, okay, you're this, many years old. Mm-hmm. Does growth really mean that you've reached a particular age, or does it mean that you've met a particular maturity level, or you've met a particular success level or wisdom level? Like how do you measure growth?
Well, I guess you can look at it in all of those examples that you said as far as like maturity or age.
Yeah.
But growth can be just getting older. Like as far
like these gray hairs. I'm growing, y'all. That's how I know I'm growing.
But that doesn't mean that you are getting any more mature.
Yeah.
Because you could still be the same immature person and still be the same age.
But you remember when you was a kid, though, when you used to, run to the kitchen and put your back against the wall and take that pencil, and your mom used to measure your height and be like, "Oh, you're getting tall." And I mean, I know you've probably been 6'3" since you was, a toddler. But I mean, everybody. Some people had to go through that growing phase. So it's like, okay, well, are you gonna say like, okay, well, now I'm in my adulthood, and it's not that I'm getting bigger or wider or whatever, stronger, faster.
But all of those things are growth things that that measures some type of growth. But are we talking in terms of that, or are we talking in terms of maturity or age, or not just physical growth? Mm-hmm. So you have to look at it from that standpoint. Because, of course, I mean, from a child to now, yes, I've grown physically, and I've grown mentally.
Yeah.
So, but I don't feel like everybody has reached that certain maturity level as they have grown older.
And that's the sad part about it, though, because
that's very sad.
It's like, okay, well, you are 25 plus, 26, 27, and you're still acting like an 18-year-old.
Right. And there's some 45-year-olds that still acting like 18-year-olds.
Lord Jesus.
And 45-year-olds.
Like bro man from the fifth floor.
Right. It's like, at what point do you say enough is enough? Like, I need to grow up mentally.
Right.
Like, you can grow up physically, but if you don't grow up mentally, then you're still a child in an adult body.
Right.
And that's a problem, because you're still trying to do what kids are doing.
But I think, okay, so for me, just looking at me, and this may help someone, but for me, I got to the point where I was like, okay, well, I'm getting older. I know that, I'm graduating high school, going to college, this and that and the other. And I've done all those things, and it's like, okay, well, are you growing? Are you getting older? Or, what's the case? And so it was like I got to the point, like in my mid-20s, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel like I feel stagnant. I don't feel like I'm reaching my potential. I don't know what my purpose is. So I kept trying to seek out all those different things.
Right.
So it's like you gotta turn the mirror back on you, and you kind of gotta, what we talked about last season, you gotta have that mirror moment,
right?
And you gotta look back at you. And what I had to do in order for me to grow is I had to realize like exactly where I am now. I'm stagnant. I'm sitting here at the first base, and I need to get to second base, and how I'm going to do that. And it was like, I had to go back and I had to see what are the things that have influenced me or that have held me back or have perpetuated me that I am still where I am, and how can I get to that? So I had to take steps by constantly looking at myself and say,
right.
Let me look at Dedrick. Let me look at Dedge on the edge and see what I need to do and see how I am and see how people respond to how I am and change my behaviors. Because,
That's growth.
That's
growth.
That's growth.
That's
I
growth.
feel like that's growth.
That's
when
growth.
you can actually identify that I may need to look at myself and identify some things that may not be good,
Right.
For me, socially,
physically.
and how can I go forward? How can I establish good relationships? How can I establish good friendships? And what are the things that have been the death of those things that are no longer like. What are the things that have killed relationships in the past with me?
Right.
What are the things that have killed friendships, that have, drove a wedge between me and family members or whoever, or, even professionally, like looking at the things that have not helped me to grow where I am as successful as I can be in my role. So, it's like you have to look at yourself and see, okay, what do I need to do? How can I change or manipulate or do whatever that I need to do to get to that next level?
Because I think that those are definitely things that we all should try and should do. Is to, first of all, look at ourselves and ask the questions: am I at the place where I want to be? Or,
right.
Because you have to ask yourself like these real questions, like, am I where I want to be? Am I on the right track? What can I do to get on the right track?
Right.
Or who can I talk to help me to get on the right track?
And that's a good thing that you brought that up, because sometimes people don't want to talk to other people.
Right, but sometimes you have to go to other people to be able to get to that next level. Ugh. Find out what worked for them. It may not be what worked for them, might work for you, but they may be able to lead you in that direction to help you grow in certain areas.
My.
And I feel like there's a whole lot of there's a lot of people that we can connect with that can help us get to the next level if we would just let our guards down and be able to talk to people and be able to communicate efficiently with people about whatever's going on in our lives. And if we want to go to that next level, we can tap into whatever they have and they can help us get there.
Exactly.
So, but sometimes we get lost in
ourselves.
That's it.
Sometimes we get lost in
ourselves. And
because we're thinking that nobody else has been through what I've been through, and nobody else is like I am or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, because I'm a Taurus. I was born April 26th. And it's like, I have that stubborn, that bull. Like, I'm like, you know what? Can't nobody tell me nothing that I don't already know.
But sometimes you got to put all that to the side and actually allow yourself to be a student of another person. And some people don't know how to do that. And without...
sometimes the greatest leaders are the best. The best leaders are great followers.
Well, and that's true. But I guess every leader starts out a follower, so...
But some people, it makes sense, but some people don't see themselves as being a follower, because they think that a follower is like a third world country. Like, I don't want to be a follower. No, I'm a leader. But sometimes, but you have to be in order to be a great leader, you have to be an excellent follower.
Right.
And so that's the kind of the thing that I had to understand with me is, like, fall back, there are people out here that have had more experience where I may flourish in one area of life. I may not do as well in others, where somebody else may be great in that. Like, like I wouldn't call myself like the relationship doctor, because I haven't had a successful 20-year relationship. As opposed to looking at my sister and brother-in-law, and they have been together almost 30 years, and they have made it work.
You will be able to ask questions to people. that people that have been in, I guess, a relationship for that long, or
Right.
whatever it is that you may be consider going into, like if you want to continue to grow in business or whatever, you find someone that is successful in that arena, and you ask the right questions and say, well, what worked for you? How did you get to this level?
You may not even have to ask the right questions. Just observe. Sometimes
That's
it's just
true.
like, shut up. Just sit back,
Just sit
shut
back
up, and look and listen.
Right,
and
right.
learn. Look, listen, and learn. Oh, look, listen, and learn.
The 3 L's.
The 3 L's. I might have to start teaching that, y'all.
The 3 L's. You know what? We
Come
should call this episode
Look, listen, and learn. But yeah, sometimes you can't always be the know-it-all.
Oh, that's key.
I mean,
Because sometimes people they want to know it all. Because I look at a lot of like younger people nowadays. It's like you can't tell them anything.
You can't tell them.
because they know everything. It's like, okay, I've already been through that. I've been where you are, and I can help you get to where you need to be without going through the things that I went through. But they don't get it.
They don't get it.
They don't want to listen. They know everything, and that's not going to help them to grow.
Even sometimes with adults as well.
With adults too. But sometimes they have to hit rock bottom before they actually are able to grow in whatever arena that they're in, or
I'm
whatever.
about to do a Shirley Caesar shout up in here, y'all. Lord have mercy.
But I mean, it's so true though.
It's very true. It's
so
very true.
Like they don't get it.
The kids don't listen these days, but sometimes it's because they have parents that don't listen.
And
you have parents that emulate a characteristic or a frame of mind, and that's the only thing your kids know. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, well, they know everything, so so do I. I could, you can't tell a Quasha out here how to blah 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 because her mama Keisha ain't showing her the right example. So it's like, they got the head bobbing and the finger popping and that. So I mean, that's what you get.
You got. I mean, I'm not even gonna say a certain age. I'm just saying at a certain point. But you have to grow out of that.
But that's growth. If you have not experienced or used the resource to show you how to grow, or for you to even, I guess it's for you to even water a seed, you ain't gonna grow. I mean,
Oh, that's true.
You can't.
That's right.
You can't grow. You can't grow tulips in the desert.
That's good.
Listen. But I mean, so for me,
it's dry.
It was for me my biggest thing, and Kendrick Lamar said it the best: be humble, sit down, be humble. I had to be humble. I know that's kind of whack, but I had to be humble. All I needed was my music, and I could have did like the crib walk up out this. But yeah, I mean, I had to learn to be humble, and I had to sit down. And it's like, you know what? Just sit down, look, listen, and learn. Because there was so much that I didn't know about the real world.
A lot.
So,
I mean, even at my age now, it's still a lot that I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot to learn, and there's still a lot of growing that I have to do.
So I want to challenge the listeners. I want to challenge y'all out there to actually find an area in your life where you feel like you might know the most, and evaluate that situation. And if you feel like during your evaluation that you may not know as much as you think you do, reach out to someone else that may have had more experience in life than you. And by that I mean maybe a little bit older, if you will, and pose those same questions. And see if you can get something out of what they give to you. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I've done before. It's like, okay, well, I think I know a lot about cars. Okay, there's always someone out here that may know a little bit more than you.
Right.
So, let me go out here.
It doesn't necessarily have to be like someone older, because
I mean, no, it was just an example. I mean, I'm just saying, like just someone like, okay, more experience would be one of them. But I mean, like they could be older, or they could be more experienced, or they could have whatever the case may be. You know who you can reach out to for certain things. So, I would just say, hey, take a certain situation that you think you know the most about, evaluate it with yourself. Take a mirror, look back at yourself and say, okay, you know what? How prosperous or how much have I been able to be successful in this area before? Mm-hmm. And take that and evaluate it, and then reach out to someone else that has more